3. The Man in White. I was shown in by one of the junior scientists, who had a pair of dark-rimmed glasses perched on his nose. I was told to change into a paper gown and sit on the examination table. I did. This was routine. However, it was not every day that Dr. Nicholson did the examination. I swallowed. Why now? This wing was different from any other area in the facility. It had a cleanliness to it that didn't exist anywhere else. I suppose a medical lab would need to be. It looked like someone could actually eat off the floor in the examination tables in this place. It was brightly lit and white. So white it was like I was lost in a snow blizzard of a colorless world, with glass touchscreen monitors that appeared more like mirrors than decorative glass. The door slid open and Dr. Nicholson stepped inside, a computer tablet in his hand. A long lab coat dressed him, but a red tie was not quite hidden beneath. He pulled up a screen and I could see my statistics. I heard you had a run-in with the simulation machine today. He laid his tablet on the examination table and sat on the stool, rolling toward me, and began his examination, checking my vitals. The cold metal of the stethoscope pressed onto my skin under the paper gown, listening to my heart. He moved it around, adjusting the instrument on his neck. The instructor said it must have been a malfunction, I said. What happened right before that? Which mission were you running? He removed the stethoscope from his ears and let it hang around his neck as he took my wrist and began to take my pulse. Mission 15, sir. The one in the high school with the aggressive minder? I nodded. Then did the simulation short-circuit? He rose, taking the otoscope and examining my eyes and ears. It was strange having him hover over me and conduct the examination, usually left for his assistants to handle. When she attacked me, I wanted to push her away, and I thought about it. He took my temperature next, running a digital thermometer across my forehead. You thought about it. I nodded and could see a quirk in Dr. Nicholson's mouth. He was pleased. He moved away, picking up the tablet from the examination table where he had laid it. He took notes. He always took notes. It was a thing I could always catch him doing, even outside of the lab. Not that I often saw him elsewhere. He was a very private man. Do you know why you were selected as a recruit for this company, John? I was selected for my attributes. All the boys shared a qualification of being an orphan. Have you ever been told what those are? Yes, sir. My abilities. I am a Venator. Not yet, but soon. You are stronger and faster than the other recruits because of your advantage. You know what that is? I'm an anomaly. Correct. And as such, you are unique in so many ways. May I ask something, sir? He looked displeased I had interrupted his evaluation, but I couldn't get his name out of my mind. You may. Where is Jack? I wanted to know what kind of answer he would give me, after just seeing him outside. Jack has been transferred to another facility. I didn't know what to say. He hadn't been truthful. I figured there were reasons for that. Jack was a little rebellious, something that always nicked at the director. He hated disorder, and Jack was all about disorders. Did I actually miss Jack? Will I see him again? I forced myself to ask. I needed to see his reaction. I'm certain your paths will cross. Jack will be sent on his own mission soon, just as you will be. His answer didn't surprise me. I blinked. The director rose. He was reading through his computer tablet. The crease on his brow indicated he was consumed with the research in his files. His lip curved sideways slightly, and there seemed to be a gleam of victory in his features. He turned quickly toward the door. I will return promptly. He left the room, and I found it difficult to stay still. Rubbing a hand over my head, I looked around the room. I honestly didn't know what much of the tools were for. I'd never had an aptitude for medicine. I thought of Jack. Thought about what the director had said regarding him being sent on a mission soon, and I would follow. I was both excited and terrified at the thought of being out there. Excitement won out. All the simulations I endured wouldn't compare to being out in the real world. I had known Jack for a long time. I couldn't remember ever not having him around until the live simulation a few weeks ago, where he shot the trainer in the leg. He'd been reprimanded for it. Soon, I would get my chance like he was getting. He had seen the world a lot sooner than I had, and I hated to admit, I was curious about what was out there. Leaning back on the examination table, I thought about the outside world. I felt anticipation curl in my stomach. I'd been trained in the customs and behaviors of people on the outside for future missions, but was too valuable to be risked amongst the possible aliens and mindbenders. It was far too dangerous. Even now, I could feel the simulated death from an alien product protecting the mindbender. If I failed in a legitimate mission, that death would be real. Permanent. An electrical shock wouldn't bring me back. I watched the old-fashioned clock in the room, the second hand spinning in a hypnotic circle. 5 minutes, then 10. I closed my eyes, laying back. I would take a rest until Dr. Nicholson came back. I'd been riding high on the adrenaline from the simulation room. It was waning now. Hello? Why are you inside my head? I don't know. Why are you inside mine? Recruit Slater? A hand on my arm jolted me back into the present. Had I been dreaming again? I rubbed at my cheeks, looking at Dr. Nicholson in surprise. The man was looking at me, head tilted to the side as if he was calculating something. Sorry, sir. I didn't sleep well last night. Do you know why? I hear voices in my head, I thought, swallowing the urge to tell him. It hadn't been in order. I could make the choice to ignore it. I shook my head. Dr. Nicholson tapped a few things into the tablet. You said something about an assignment, sir. About sending me out, too. Yes. You are being sent south. More details will follow once you've completed your training, of course. He set a folder down on the examination table, took a seat on the nearby stool, and began typing into the laptop. More training, I thought. You will be briefed en route. As this is your first assignment, you will be assigned a guardian. His name is Joseph, and you will meet him as soon as you leave this room. Become acquainted with him. You are a unit now. You must depend on him, just as he will expect the same from you. Why do I require a guardian, sir? Dr. Nicholson glared over at me from his seat, and almost immediately I regretted my question. Hadn't he already told me? You are a valued asset to the company, and it's company protocol as a valued member that you have a guardian. Do you, sir? Dr. Nicholson pressed his lips together slightly. I swallowed the rest of my questions. The director's clear blue eyes seemed to indicate I was prying a little too close to questions I shouldn't be asking. I do, the director answered dryly. May I ask what my target is? At the present time, there was only speculation of a source of energy in a local school in El Paso, Texas. I want you there to conduct a walkthrough. Get your things together. You'll be there for a year. A year, I thought. The thin line of his lips wrinkled as he noticed the look upon my face. I nodded. It should be an easy target for your first assignment. I wanted to argue. I was hoping for a serious challenge to prove myself on the field. I never expected to be placed in a school as my first mission. What kind of assignment was that? Dr. Nicholson stood up from his rolling doctor stool and moved to leave the room. He paused in the doorway. I know what you are thinking, John. But this is an important mission. Don't fret. You will prove yourself. I expect great things from you. It was as if he had read my mind. I guess the look on my face was an obvious disappointment. With regards to the role I was expected to play, I looked the part. I was, after all, just 15 myself. I would fit right in with the rest of the students. Just another new student. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, I said, saluting him. Dr. Nicholson smiled and walked out, leaving me to dress. I stepped out, nearly forgetting what Dr. Nicholson had briefed me on. I looked into the folder that had been left for me on the examination table as I stopped outside the lab rooms. The long barracks hall was cold and dim. It was a wonder people could see each other. Inside the folder, I found details on the location. It was a high school, just like Dr. Nicholson had said. I found a picture of my target, a man in his 30s that could be someone's uncle or father or best friend. I didn't even know there was a target to be examined, but it looked like the company had been keeping tabs on him for some time. There was nothing concrete in the file, just the note that he was a possible person of interest. There was no mention of him in Dr. Nicholson's notes. Maybe he was of no interest to the doctor. I stared at his face, taking in the image. He looked harmless. Further notes penned by Dr. Nicholson specified other important details he wanted me to focus on. He underlined the word source in one section. Finds a source of energy if markers indicator in the building. If nothing found, report back. Do you understand what you're looking at? I heard a voice say from behind. A tall, tan-skinned man in a dark suit and tie was standing behind me. He looked professional all around. He was wearing a pair of clearing glasses. They were called thermal identification goggles because they detected odd interference. I knew that from my studies. He must have been testing them.